fellow freelancers and entrepreneurs, I realized that I should share more of the business books that I read with you guys because you're all business people and you're all, entrepreneurs and freelancers. And so a lot of this pertains to you as well. And so, anyway, this is a book that I just finished reading, Business Model Generation. It's a book that had been on my list for a while because I remember it was pretty big a while ago, maybe 10 years ago or so. And then when I was in Taiwan, it had recently been translated into Chinese. And I remember going to these entrepreneurship events there, and a lot of people were carrying these around, or someone would bring it up and be like, oh yeah, I read it as well. And I remember it was really making the rounds back then. I confess I haven't heard much about it since, but ever since then, I had it in the back of my mind that I wanted to go over this. And I remember also while I was in Taiwan, that at least one time, there's sort of a session where people who had been following this book kind of got together and exchanged their ideas based on this book, different entrepreneurs in different businesses. And so it just got me really curious about it. So I finally read it. And I just wanted to share my thoughts with you. First of all, I like it. As you can see, it's designed a bit oddly, a bit differently. That's part of the whole reason. I mean, they do that on purpose, let's say, the way they designed it. They don't want it to be just your average run-of-the-mill book. And I mean, that's fine. I like it. I appreciate it, I should say. I'm not that much of a design person myself, but I see what they're trying to do. And it does give it a different feel. You see it more like a workbook or something like this. Another thing that I like about it is that a lot of these business books, they try to make things very simple. They're not trying to dumb it down necessarily, but they try to make it non-academic. They say, this isn't like school, this isn't like a class, we'll make it fun or we'll make it more realistic or this, that, and the other. And they don't do that. And I appreciate that because school did get some things right. And sometimes you need to do exercises and you need to figure stuff out the right way, which isn't always the easy way. I know it doesn't make much sense. It will make sense if you read the book, though. And in fact, hopefully it makes sense if you look at some of the things that I worked on here. So first of all, right at the beginning, they have the business model canvas. And this is replicated throughout the book, but it goes through what this business model canvas means and what all the different points of the business model canvas stand for and what they signify and stuff like that. And then it gives you sort of an empty one. It says you should print it out large and have it use Post-it notes. I just put Post-it notes right there because it's a pretty large layout that they have. So it kind of worked well for me. I think if you're working in a team, you should definitely print it out. And if you have a printer available, print it out right away. I prefer to do it right away rather than wait to print it out. I don't have a printer here at home. We're working from home, both my wife and I. So to print would mean a delay, and I'd rather just get on it right away. But as you can see, it takes some work. You have to go through your job, your business, and see what the key activities are, who the key partners are, key resources, cost structure, revenue streams, value proposition, customer relationships, channels, customer segments. Not all of that sounds like a whole lot of fun and get you motivated and pumped up. Well, yeah, I mean, because this is real stuff you have to do. And so that's what I mean. It deals with the real things and doesn't let go of them just because they won't be too sexy, let's say. They sort of make up for it by trying to have a sexy design, but yeah. Anyway, and I really do appreciate the things it covers. I think for some things, if you're not working as part of a business or as a team, they'll apply a bit less to you. And that's the case with a lot of these business books, by the way. For us freelancers, entrepreneurs, like solopreneurs, let's put it that way. And however, there were quite a few points that I found were very useful. Here's another chart. As you can see, I put my Post-it notes on it. What does the customer think and feel? What does the customer see? Et cetera, et cetera. And these are, by the way, these work whether your customer is a consumer or is another business. It shows you how you can show your value proposition, how you can make sure it's attractive to the customer, it's what the customer needs, and you can also make sure, later it talks also about the market. It has a SWOT analysis, obviously, but it also talks about the market in general and how to keep in mind what your competitors are doing, what is happening with the market in general, and how to put all that together for your value proposition for the client. I think it does go, especially if you're first starting out, this does go quite a bit in depth. There are other books that do go more in depth that talk about things more in detail, but they're probably too much for someone who's just starting out. This one is about as in depth and as complicated as you can get for someone who's just starting out. So if you haven't read books that are similar to this, this is a good one to start off with. we're going to see how well it works, at least for me. I mean, I have been taking my notes and I will be applying them. And I'm really kind of, I said it doesn't pump you up, but I am quite pumped up to get started on these and apply them to my business. So let me get more a bit into the nitty gritty and talk about how it's structured. And you can see it starts with a canvas. The canvas, what they call the canvas, is where they define the business model. It tells you what the different parts of the business model mean, and that way you can create your own business model like you saw I did with my Post-it notes. And it has the business model canvas. That's where I put my Post-it notes, and that's where you can come up with your own business model canvas for your business. Then later it has patterns. Here it talks about the different types of businesses, like multi-sided platforms, free as a business model, so freemium or stuff like that, and different things you can use, different strategies you can use for your business in terms of how to structure it. Then you have design, and this is designing your business in essence. And it has customer insights, visual thinking, storytelling, stuff like this. And it shows you how to design your business. And then is a strategy. The strategy is the next part. Business model environment, evaluating business models, managing multiple business models, stuff like. It doesn't sound like much now, but once you're reading the book, you'll see what it means, because it always refers back to the business model from the beginning, and it shows you different strategies for using it. Then later it talks about the process, the outlook, and then it has an afterword, which fine. And this is the way they have it as a diagram: the canvas, patterns, design, strategy, process, and then outlook and afterword over there. But that's how it's designed. It's very logical in the way it's designed from beginning to end, so it's not something you really skip around with too much. It does have some examples from other companies that really sometimes don't apply much, like from the pharmaceutical industry and whatnot. So I kind of took, when they talk about things like market forces and the main questions to ask, I would look at that. I didn't pay too much attention to their results from the pharmaceutical industry because those don't apply to me. And so there are a couple things you can kind of gloss over. Also here, when it says, what stands in your way, it has examples from other people. I don't know who these other people are. They're just random people, it seems, random entrepreneurs. And I guess you can see what stands in their way, but I kind of know what stands in my way. So anyway, like I said, you can take each part as you wish. Some things will be more useful than others. However, I do think it's something that if you are serious about your business, you should take the time to read. This, like any other business book, and I'll say this over and over again, any business book shouldn't be light reading that you do in the evening before going to sleep or something. You don't treat it like other books. You treat it as part of your business. I try to take time out of my business. I use business hours to actually go through this, which means I have to take it seriously. I have to take notes and I have to apply it, because otherwise I just wasted my time. And that's how I view any type of business book. If you read it this way, then this can really be worth it, and you can apply it to your business. So yeah, I definitely would recommend this. I'd probably give it I haven't rated it yet, maybe 4.5 stars. I'll have a link to it down in the description below, and feel free to check it out. That's it for now, and I'll talk to you next time. Okay, thanks, bye. Savedum.